Hey there, welcome to the Xennial Mindset Show. I'm Marie Mack, born in 1983.
And I'm Anne-Marie Pasquino from the crew of 1977. Together, our mission is to unravel the intricate layers of the Xennial mindset, where cherished memories of cassette tapes and rotary phones seamlessly coexist with cutting-edge technology and social media frenzy.
We'll also have some awesome guest Xennials dropping by, bringing their own stories and insights to the table.
So, whether you're a fellow Xennial craving a trip down memory lane, or just curious to know what the Xennial mindset is all about, stick around.
The Xennial Mindset Show is your backstage pass to our world where nostalgia meets innovation. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. It is an amazing time of year. It is the holidays. And I think with the holidays, we definitely have a lot of reflection and kind of coming to the close of the year. But there are also a lot of things that Anne-Marie and I were talking about around things that are different now. And we wanted to open up this discussion with y'all and kind of open up with some things that we know have changed, but then there might be things in your world that have changed. And we're just going to, as Xennials, reminisce a little bit and then also think maybe how things might be better because some of the changes that have happened. So first, I will be honest and open. The holidays have never been a big deal in my family. It's super sad. I know, I get it. But with my parents, my mom being a single mom, things just get really a lot, especially with 4 kids. And so the holidays were always like a last minute thought. Sometimes we would have a tree, sometimes not. And my grandparents were really good at doing holiday things, but it was kind of like one and done events. So I'm going to lean on our beautiful Anne-Marie a little bit because the holiday season, Christmas in general, is her jam. And Anne-Marie, I'm going to pass the mic to you because I know, we are still like many, many weeks away from the Christmas actual, and you have everything decorated. So I need to hear a little bit about this, about your passion for the holidays.
Oh my God. I love the holidays, Marie. If I could put up my tree and get ready for the holidays in September, I would.
September, oh my gosh.
But I do let Halloween pass. And then the minute Halloween passes, the tree is up, decorations are up. Christmas music is on usually in November because there's always that one radio station that plays all day Christmas music. So I'm just waiting for them to start. And then it's blaring in every room in our house, which probably annoys my husband quite a bit. But that's okay. It's Christmas. I was just telling Marie before we started this podcast, it is the most wonderful time of the year. That's a song. I was just literally just singing it before we got on. I love it. And I love it because it brings family together. It's festive. People are just in a happier mood, I find, right? And I don't know if it's because it's the holiday season, but I do think that obviously growing up, Christmas was a really big holiday for us. I come from a French Canadian and Italian background. So we celebrated the holidays, 2 very different types of holidays. And I can tell you guys a little bit about that, but it was definitely a big thing for us. And growing up, we just continued on. It was a time for us to get the whole family together. It was less about gifts and stuff like that, and just more about being together. And that has changed a lot over time. And I think if I look back to, the baby boomers, and I look at old pictures of when my parents got together with their families at Christmas and, how it was when I grew up and what it is today, I see a really, really big difference. So if I go back to baby boomers and I look at pictures of my dad and my mom, like they were in like one room and they were like 50 to 100 people and there was food everywhere and kids playing on the floor. And I hear stories about like they would have sleepovers. People would just sleep anywhere. And it was just about being together and celebrating and food and wine and all of that beautiful stuff and less about presents, I think, for the younger kids. And then if you transition into like my generation, Gen X, it was more about, yeah, it's celebration, it's bringing the family together, but that still happened. So we didn't really like long for it. Obviously, gifts were a big thing, but, we wrote our list, and we'll talk about where we are today. But, I knew that if I was making a list of 5 things, I was getting maybe 1 or 2 things on the list. And I was super excited about it. And I remember opening my gifts and I'd be like, oh my God, so excited. Santa brought me this. And it was like the highlight of the holiday. And then today, I don't have children, as we all know, but I do have some smaller kids, that I buy gifts for, and then I'll give them the gift, and they're like, they open it and they're like, next. And half of the time I'm asking their parents what they want. And it's like, oh, just get them a gift card. And I'm like, okay, right. So I feel like it doesn't have the same feeling and sentiment that it did in our days, or even in our parents' days. And you have kids, Marie. So tell me, how is it on your end?
Yeah. So in a current world, like much different than before, you were talking about making lists, and I was just laughing because my kids' list is their Amazon list. Like all of their requests go to Amazon, or it gets like text to you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's hilarious because my kids, when they were little, like when they were younger, we definitely like sat down and like wrote out a list, and it was fun. Now it's just like, cool, can I just text it to you? Or here's like the link to buy it direct. Like I don't know, we're kind of disconnected from a lot of the excitement of like finding the thing. Like we don't have to go window shopping anymore. But I remember that being a really cool thing when we were younger. Like you're walking around the mall and you're like looking at all the stores and you're like picking up the things that you want to put on your list. And now it's just like scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, I'll take that. Oh, I want this color. Oh, I want it to come from here. Oh, it's not going to get delivered in time. Fine, I'll find something else. Like there are just so many options that I do think it takes away a little bit of the magic of that season. And I think some of it's great, like obviously convenience wise, like as a parent, I don't have to go in. I don't even know if malls are even a thing anymore. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
been in so long, but it used to be the only way that you would sit down and like get a bunch of gifts. You would sit there and you would go and you would like have your list of who you're going to buy for. And it just doesn't happen as often anymore. So there's a little bit, I think, of nostalgia that's lost in that gift buying process just because things are so accessible online. And I agree, like my kids are we buy throughout the year. They know that we buy throughout the year. Like we don't wait for Christmas to get the big gift or
Mm-hmm.
their birthday to get the gift. Um, we get things throughout the year, and they understand that. And they understand that it's about being with family. Like we even had the conversation today, like as we're about to get together for US Thanksgiving, and they were asking like, okay, what are the expectations of them as children to the Thanksgiving side of things? And same with like the Christmas gatherings. It's like you leave your screen behind and you're going to come and play Uno with the family, or
I
you're going
love
to go
that.
play with the cousins outside. And they're great. Like as teenagers, they get that, they understand that, they want to be in it. But it's almost like we have to remind them to shift. They have to shift away from some of the screen things because their life is on screen. Our life is on a screen. Like we run an online business. You and I have only ever met through a screen. We're changing that. But it's still like the way that we do life. And we really do have to intentionally pull ourselves into a physical present moment during the holiday
Mm-hmm.
and just be aware that that family connection isn't isn't lost as long as we make it intentional.
Yeah.
So I think that there's this kind of back and forth between, as Xennials, what did we do that was naturally the thing that we do, to bringing that into the current generation, even if you have kids or you don't have kids. Like we're planning a gathering with my brother and sister-in-law, no kids, just to be able to sit down and like have a couple cocktails over the holidays. Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal. Like we should have that camaraderie at that time. It should be all year round, but it gives it something a little special when it's like holiday time. So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit just about we were talking right before we were recording about one of the traditions that I think is lost. And I hope other people hope other people have different experiences, but I was just thinking about Christmas cards in general. Even 15 years ago, I remember sitting and buying like a whole stack of Christmas cards and like writing them out and trying to get everything together and getting it out in time so the mail would actually get it there. And I, of course, I'm not the best sentimental person, so I don't always think about it. But I did know that it was important for other people to get like a physical card. And I feel like that's really gone away. Like, we don't get cards hardly at all from anybody. I don't know how it is for you. Do you still get a bunch of Christmas cards?
So I don't get a bunch, but I still get a couple. And ironically enough, the ones that I do get are from my nephews and niece. And the reason I do get them is because my sister-in-laws make it a point to continue on with that tradition. And that kind of goes back to like the way we grew up, how, what our parents did, what we did, and what our kids or, what we're doing today, and how important it is to take some of those traditions and carry them on. Right? Because if we don't, whether it is, mailing out a Christmas card, or it's about getting together, or it's about spending time, as a family and playing games and all of that stuff, I think it's important for us as that middle generation to make sure that, this generation understands the importance of doing this. Because if we don't do that, then they won't, and those traditions won't continue. One of the things we do is, we have the same meal. Every Christmas. So as Italians, we don't eat meat on Christmas Eve. We get together and we have seafood and fish and pasta and all that beautiful stuff. And we have chestnuts and we have mandarins and we have all of the traditional stuff that we had as kids that our grandparents did. So our hope in doing that is that we'll eventually pass on those traditions to the younger generation. Right? But if we don't take initiative to do those types of things, then those traditions are lost. Right? And that doesn't just mean Christmas. It means anything. Like as Italians, we have, and I know you do this, and we should have an episode on, winemaking and olive making and all of that. But, for us, it's not because, we can't afford to go to the store and buy olives, but we actually make an event out of it, right? Where we get together 8, 10 people, and once a year we're making olives, right? And it's not about the making of the olives. Yes, they're delicious, but it's more about that tradition of getting together and keeping that alive so that the younger generation can see it and hopefully will carry on some of those little traditions that we're doing. I do agree with you. I think the holidays is just, I think it's because a lot of people take time off during the holidays. So it kind of feels like it's the perfect time to get together and just to kind of spend time with the family. We should be doing it all year, but we're just also busy and, other things take precedence. So I think that the holidays is kind of like, okay, everybody's off, right? If you're off for a week or 2 weeks, well, you're like, okay, well, this is the time where I'm going to get together with family. This is the time that I'm going to do those things. Christmas cookies. Do you bake Christmas cookies?
I mean, we do bake Christmas cookies. My daughter is a huge fan of Christmas cookies. We do a decent amount with my mother-in-law, but I remember like when I first got married, my husband's grandmother used to have racks of cookies. There were thousands of cookies everywhere. You could not eat them enough. We would freeze them because they're just so many cookies. And then when she got sick and she kind of stopped, some of the grandkids sort of picked it up, but at the end of the day, like there've never been as many cookies as there were when we were younger. I love Christmas cookies. And then at the same time, like we have, I guess there's more of an awareness in like our diet, especially like with our family and like my son's Crohn's disease. Like, okay, well, we can't make all the Christmas cookies now because he can't eat them. And is the sugar and the flour that is super highly processed the thing that we want to be eating? And it's just an awareness, I think, of a current generation that maybe when we were kids, it wasn't as big of a deal. I also think like the food has changed. I think that what we are getting from the store is not the same quality as we did in the 80s and the 90s. And so it really can be quite, you have to be intentional about how much you're eating and what you're eating. And although we love to sit down and like just sit for days and eat, there's also an awareness of like what are we doing? So It's not the Italian side. Like, we have an Italian side on our side. No, they don't care. They're going to have turkey and mashed potatoes and all the things, which is great. But Christmas cookies is a very good nostalgic, I think, thing that most people do. And I'd be interested to hear from like the people that are listening, like, what are the traditions that are still all around for your family, or what are you intentionally passing down? I love that your sister-in-law is passing down like making Christmas cards and like sending those out. I know for us, we're always a big family gathering thing. Like, we're going to take the extra step to travel to see family as much as we can, or to make the intent to save a day to get together. Like, around Thanksgiving time, we're going to see all of the family as much as we can. Around Christmas, the same thing. We do big gatherings. And I don't think that that's lost, nor do I think it's going to go away. Like, that's timeless, is to get together for the holidays. But I do think that gift giving has been changed. And I do think that there's some other little things like Christmas cards that have just been adjusted.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about we talked about what the meaningful traditions are for us and what we want to pass on to the next generation. How do we keep it going? How do we keep the magic of the holidays going? I love the magic of the holidays and our childhood in this like fast-paced, tech-driven world. What can we do, or what are our listeners doing to kind of keep up with that, right? Because we talked about like the nostalgia, and we talked about all of that. We talked about writing a Christmas list. We talked about making cookies. We talked about putting up a tree as a family. We talked about spending time together. We talked about traditions and all of that. So I'd love to hear from you, like, what can we do to keep that going?
I think there's also, for us, we love travel. We love being with the kids. Like, we don't do travel without the kids, which I know a lot of families do. Like, they'll take big trips and they might have the kids stay with grandma or something. And for the last several years, I think, well, we did it in 2021. So not 2020, because that was a weird year. But we've gone on a cruise with our kids, and it's been just the four of us. We've done it with the family members before, but we love that time. It's a really special time, and the kids know that. We want to do experiences. We lean more heavily on experiences now. And I don't know if that's kind of the pragmatic side of things. Like, if I'm going to spend money on my kids, I would rather them have an experience and memories around it as opposed to a thing. Like, I could spend the same amount of money probably getting them a brand new computer each year that I do on like a cruise and where we're going, the experiences that are around that. So we choose experiences. And I think that that will stay with our family throughout. Like, I think my kids will always choose to do some kind of family travel event for the rest of their lives as the way to get together, which, whether that's like a new tradition for our family or not, I don't know. Like, we've done it for 5 years, so maybe so. But I think the biggest thing is that, like you said, getting together at the end of the year and just enjoying each other's time while still doing something that's really close to our heart, which is travel, which is like new experiences. Like, this year, we're going to Jamaica and Haiti, which we've never been to before. And we're excited about, it's a very closed thing because we're going as like tourists, but we're excited to just even be in those countries and to showcase that to our kids. So that's one thing I know that we'll be passing on. And I think it's just, like we've said it in other episodes too. It's just, we are the examples, not only for our kids, but also for the other people that are around us, right? Like, we have plenty of people that we talk to every single day, and in the work that we do, we have people that are in our communities that we're a part of. Like, we share all of these things with them so that they can learn the next best thing for their family. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is we just, especially with this podcast, it's about sharing our opinions and sharing our thoughts so that other people can either learn something new, or maybe try something new, or disagree and share something with us, because we might learn from somebody else. So yeah, what about you? How are you passing things down?
I think, you talked about the experiences with your kids and, the trips that you do with them. One of the things that I started doing and probably stopped, which is not a good thing, is I would give my nephews and nieces their gifts, but their gifts would be a day with me and their uncle. So it was more about, what do you want to do? This is your day. We're going to do something together, and you get to choose what that is. Right. So that for me was precious, because it was just that time without their parents. It was just, the three of us, and they got to choose what they want to do. And that just, for me, meant the world, because it shows that connection and caring and love and the importance of being together and spending time together. And I think it was easier when they were younger, because they didn't have technology. Well, there was technology, but they didn't have gadgets. They didn't have their own phones. They didn't have all of this. So that time that we spent together was really meaningful, but it's probably something that I'm going to bring back. The challenge is we live so far apart. So it would mean me flying them here, which is fine. But I think that in itself would be really important. I think just to kind of bring that back and just emphasize the importance of just kind of that meaningful connection, right? We're in the business of partnerships and connections, right? And we know how important that is. So as important as it is in business, it's important in our family lives.
100%. And I think it's interesting because we both are really putting an emphasis on experiences and being together, which I don't know if that's true in other generations. Like, it's natural for me to say, am I going to spend money on a thing, or am I going to spend money on us having an experience together and being together? Like 100%, it would be like, I can't even think about right now what to tell my husband I want for Christmas. Like, I can't, I like nothing. I'm good. I can't even come up with anything. Now, did I say that I wanted to go on a cruise, and did I want to pay for like some really fun things on that? Yes, I would rather put all of my money having my family go have a fun experience than have anything physical, which is probably why I shop at like Goodwill and like secondhand stores. It's the same thing. Like, I don't want to spend my money on like the fact that we have to wear clothes, which is a thing. Happen.
That is a thing.
Yes, we'll continue to do that tradition of society. But it is fascinating. And I hope that other Xennials feel the same way, that they're just like, yeah, let's get together. Let's have an experience. Let's forego the 5,000 little presents that are underneath the tree, and let's choose to do something fun. You were saying about getting together with your nieces and nephews, and we get together with our nieces and nephews a decent amount, not only our kids, but we pour into those children as well, and do something very similar. Like, it might, like we had our nephew turn 10, and he's a middle child. Nothing wrong with middle children, but he was always getting the hand-me-downs from his older brother, and he was like, I just want to have clothes that are brand new and my own. And at 10 years old, he's going to school, he's going to a public school, and he feels that he's always wearing the hand-me-down clothes. And so my husband and I took him out, and we just were like, sure, let's buy an outfit. It wasn't about buying him an outfit. It was about us being able to go with him somewhere. And then we did some fun things with him, outside of that. But yeah, I love that the experiences are a part of what we can do in the holidays to just keep traditions going, keep relationships going, keep family like close, and more so than the newest whatever gadgety thing is out there.
Yeah.
So
I think gifts mean more to our generation. So when I do buy a gift, let's say I'm buying it for my brother-in-law or my sister-in-law or my cousin, I'll be very mindful in terms of the gift that I'm buying. So I pay attention all year round, and I pick up on things. And I'll never forget, one year my brother-in-law was like, hey, I have this like game room in my basement. And he had mentioned in some conversation, probably like in the spring, about a dartboard. And I literally bought it for him for Christmas. Right? Because I was thinking about, and that appreciation, and that's the thing too, right? We are so busy in our everyday lives that we don't even pay attention to what people are saying anymore. So I think if people actually take the time and listen, and you're in conversation all the time, right? And then if you're buying a gift, whether it's for the holidays or if it's for somebody's birthday, but you're buying something that they mentioned or talked about or said they wanted, that gift means so much more to that person, especially people of our generation, because we grew up appreciating what we got. right?
Yeah.
So, my first Cabbage Patch doll, my first Strawberry Shortcake doll, like all of my first Light Bright, like that was like, oh my God, the best gifts in the world. You had those, right? Like, I feel like.
Yes, to start that. I didn't have a lot of dolls, but
Okay. But in the 80s, for me, because I'm a little
what
bit
they are,
older,
if that makes you.
as I'm looking at her and she's like looking at me like, what? So those meant a lot to me, right? Not because they were the trendiest things, it's because like I wanted to have that doll and I wanted the blonde one and all of these things. So when it comes to gift giving, that's the way I do it. I'd love to hear from everybody listening to our podcast. Like, how do you buy gifts? Is it just practical things? You're like, hey, let me stop at the drugstore and buy a gift card because that's what works. Or if I am buying a gift card, it's usually a gift card for travel. So I'm buying some sort of gift card for an airline. Here in Canada, we have WestJet or Air Canada, and then people can put that towards an experience.
I love that. I'll share one more thing before we close down, like what we do in our family as the kids, as the adults. We're now adults, but as like the cousins, my siblings, as we started to get older and we started having kids, it was harder and harder to buy everybody something. So once we started having our own kids, we kind of decided, hey, listen, we're just not going to do gifts for a while. And that worked out. And then the last 5 years or so, we've been getting together and we do a white elephant game. Oh, do you know white elephant?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes they call it Dirty Santa. I don't know. Anyway, so basically it's a game that we've played with all of this generation. Like when we get together, the kids get gifts, right? Like all the kids, the grandparents, they get gifts for the littles. But we will do a white elephant, and I've been choosing a theme every single year for my family. Now I'm the oldest on our side, so I'm the oldest cousin, child, whatever. So I get to choose because that's what happens when you're the oldest. But I choose the theme every year and we do a white elephant game. Basically, everybody brings a gift with the theme, and then we sit down and we choose numbers and people pick a gift. And at the end of the game, it's basically everybody has something to take home. But our themes have been very interesting. Like last year, our theme was you could only buy something from a secondhand store and it had to be under $10. And then the year before that, it was food, some kind of like fancy food, more than $5, but less than $15. So it was like very manageable for anybody to come in, and we'll do a couple different rounds. At my husband's house, we'll do this game with all of the siblings, and it'll be like some kind of craft beer. And so it's like really great bottles of wine and beer. And then we do like a little Santa game, and then everybody gets to like open and share. And it's a fun way to like get a gift without having to buy something for everybody. I love the themes. I think this year the themes that have come up that I'm not sure if we're going to do or not have been something around like something for your decorating your home, because we're all so terrible about like updating a lot of our decorations. And anyway, it's a fun, different way to get together, have some family time. And then everybody still get a gift without having to buy, just the gift card and stuff. Like the gift cards to us, it's almost like nixed. Like we almost never do gift cards anymore because everybody was just like opening up an envelope and being like, thanks so much. Like I got my gift card to wherever. So gift cards have kind of been nixed in our family because of that.
I love it.
So any last words, friend, before we finish up? I'm excited about this topic.
No, I'm excited too. I love the holidays. I hope all of you enjoy the holidays as much as I do. Yeah, I think, I'd love to hear what people's holiday traditions are, what their holiday memories are. Please do share with us. We love to hear from our listeners.
Absolutely. We'll have a happy holiday season. And we're excited to hear from you guys.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.
See you next time.
And that's a wrap for this week's episode of Xennial Mindset Show. We hope that you enjoy the deep dive into unique perspectives that defines our generation. A big shout out to our incredible guest Xennials who shared their stories and insights. If you want to stay connected and continue the conversation, please follow us on social media at the Xennial Mindset Show. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us. Join us again next week as we unpack even more captivating topics, unraveling the threads of the Xennial experience. Until then, this is Marie Mack and AMP signing off. Keep embracing the Xennial mindset, and remember, the best is yet to come.